Marty, there was a budget vote, and boy, it went exactly the way everybody thought it would go, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
It
Eh,
did,
well,
or it didn't.
or did it? We don't know. But let's just and I know you prepared a clip. You're going to play a clip here, but let's just remind everybody. We added 5 seats to Parliament. So our crazy Parliament in Ottawa has 343 MPs for a population of like 40 million, right? Like, I think the Americans don't have even as many representatives as we have, but we have 343 representatives. The budget was presented a couple of weeks ago, debated in the House of Commons, tried to pass a few modifications, and finally they had to vote on approving or not the budget on Monday. So budgets in this country are what we call confidence vote. So if the government does, if the motion to adopt the budget doesn't pass, government would get dissolved. And as it sits, any vote in this country right now, to get a majority vote, you need 171 votes. And prior to the vote on Monday, the MPs, the prime minister, everybody, they're all jockeying around trying to figure out what they were going to have. And cue up the next clip. This is Elizabeth May talking in the lobby about how she's going to vote.
Stop beating up on Mother Earth and start the process of CPR. So, against what I had expected to say to you today, I'm going to vote yes. For the country, for the planet, and for my hope in the future. The Liberals can't count on me voting confidence in the government again without delivering on the words I heard. C'est pas moi une question de beating up.
Okay, and then she goes into French. What? It was
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
quiet, but what the heck was that? So she's voting for her conscience and for the environment, for the planet. What is
she
she on about?
Oh, she went out of her way to she was almost in tears. She was doing it for her, like, she hates this budget. There's nothing in this budget that she wants. By the way, she's the only member of her party, right? The Green only elected one person. It's her, and she only won with 33,000 votes, but she's going to be ultimately the deciding vote in the budget. She hates everything about the budget. Carney didn't put anything in there about climate change, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? I got to vote with, somehow or other, she convinced herself that she needed to vote for this budget. Because
This is ridiculous.
it's completely, Clyde, it's so ridiculous. That's why I put it up there. Anyways,
Well, the quiet part out loud, everybody that doesn't want to say it, is this was a political move. The Conservatives did not want to go into an election. The Liberals kind of did, but didn't want to make it look like they were trying to force an election by voting down their own thing, because they don't want to. Their budget's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. But it's like nobody wants to go to an election. The Liberals would like to go to an election because they might win a majority in an election, and the Conservatives don't want to go to an election, so they're not being opposition. So it's like we almost have a party de facto, a single party de facto, because the Conservatives are on the side of the Liberals here.
I agree with you. I think none of the parties wanted an election. Only one MP actually came out and said that. One MP was on the record saying, my constituents don't want an election. Cool, good for you.
I think the Liberals would be okay with an election as long as the Conservatives were the ones to trigger it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what they would be like, why are the Conservatives pushing us into an election this time of year and all of this? Blame it on them, make them look bad, and then try to win votes that way. That's what they were what they would be hoping for.
So none of the parties wanted an election. Well, we knew that from last week or 2 weeks ago, when the Conservatives defeated a block motion, and they could have supported the block motion, which would have defeated the government. None of the parties wanted an election, and then that's where it gets silly this week. They did all these theatrics.
But hold on, Andrew Scheer was waiting in the lobby.
That's what I was going to get into, the theatrics that they played. Yeah. Andrew Scheer. There's videos of Andrew Scheer, not just in the lobby. He's kind of in the house. You can't be in the lobby. You have to be in the house, but he was in the house hiding behind curtains. Because if he was in the lobby and they closed the door, you're not coming in. That's a done deal. So he was in the House of Commons, but he was kind of behind curtains. and
Fighting to see if he was going to abstain from voting or not.
if he needed to abstain or not. Exactly.
Right, because if he needed to abstain to not defeat the government, this is madness. So they wanted, the Conservatives wanted to vote in a way that this budget would pass. That's what I'm saying. They're not being an opposition party at that point. Then they're not opposing the government. They're supporting the government, but they're trying to play a political game to make it look like they're not in opposition, or they are in opposition.
And then they had Shannon Stubbs, who's an MP from Alberta, and she apparently couldn't vote. So that was convenient. She abstained, and everybody's like, well, how come she has abstained? And then the story came out, apparently she had surgery or whatever. She's like, well, she was publishing videos this morning. Like in the same day, she was publishing videos. So then her staff were like, oh, no, those videos were pre-recorded. And then she published them today. And then they're like,
doesn't matter.
She could have voted with her app. She could have voted with the app. And then they were like, oh, she couldn't vote with the app because the app relies on facial recognition. And I don't know, she had bandages on her face and she was swollen and the app didn't recognize her face. I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
Every excuse in the book. Every excuse in the book.
Yeah.
This is wow. Canada's not a real country. We don't have representation. The people, the constituents who voted Conservative definitely didn't want that budget to pass. And here we are. We've got a passed budget. It's moving forward. There's no election. There's nobody's.
No,
it's
now
crappy.
ultimately at the end of the day, for me, I really don't care. I mean, we're in November. We're mid-November. We're past mid-November. The budget's already been spent. We were going to vote on a budget that was issued that should have been, the year's whatever 60% done. And even if. Yeah, it was an opportunity to defeat the Liberals, perhaps, but then we would have gone to an election around Christmas time. Do I want one personally around Christmas time? No. Let's
no.
If there's one in April, sure. Let's give this government a year and then let's have an election in April. I mean,
I'm tired of political games. Like we played the political games during the last election, and the Conservatives playing those political games lost. Like they lost because they played stupid games. They won stupid prizes. We're all paying for it now. And here we are with this budget. And the parliamentary budget officer had another award-winning moment where he said,
"Oh, I forgot that story. Good on you." Yeah, let's talk about it.
Here we go. This is him on CTV News, and he had his moment.
From our perspective, we think that the definition the government's used around capital investments is overly expansive. And in particular, they've thrown some things in there, some categories of spending, which other jurisdictions in other countries would not typically include. Most notably, the inspiration, of course, for this framework comes from the United Kingdom. And in the case of the UK, it's a far narrower definition. And of course, the biggest risk with all of this is if you're not spending on productive capital investments, if you have an overly broad definition, then you're not going to get the investment impact and the growth in the economy that the government expects.
Yeah.
More about this report and the government's.
That's absolutely true. Like you're not getting anything out of it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Did we talk about the job posting for him last week? I think
yes, we did.
Yeah. I mean,
yes, we did.
He's the interim parliamentary budget officer. Apparently, he's going to throw his name into the ring. I don't think he's going to get elected because he's not.
he's too critical.
He's not tactful, right? That's the word that Carney wants. I want a PBO who's tactful.
An ass kisser. Yeah, exactly.
An ass kisser. Exactly.
That's exactly what they want. And he's not going to be that. And I'm proud of the guy. Like, that's amazing. Good job. Good on you for being not tactful, but being honest. That's what we need more of. We need more honesty and people coming forward and just saying this isn't going to happen.
He's supposed to be honest. That he's supposed to be nonpartisan, appointed, and that's why. And he's appointed.
Oh, but our representatives are supposed to represent us, Marty.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about Ottawa here. So.
But the PBO is supposed to be appointed. It has been historically. It's worked this way. The PBO is appointed for like a 5-year term, so it's supposed to overlap government so that the next guy can't just fire him. But. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. He warned everyone. Nobody listened. That's fine. Nobody listened. I mean, deal with the consequences, I guess.
Well, absolutely. And what are the consequences? Inflation numbers are through the roof. Yep. And that's even with them fixing it. What was the inflation numbers this week?
2.2%. And again, it's funny because they're doing it with they want to rejig the basket so badly right now because we're not spending in certain categories. I mean, the only reason is 2.2, which is a bullshit number. I agree. We've talked about that, but playing their game, even by their own games, it's 2.2 because nobody's going to restaurants. Nobody's going to I actually went to a Grey Cup event on Sunday night, and the bar was empty. I literally walked in and I'm like, wow, what's going on here? And the girl's like, well, there's nobody comes out. But anyways, no, the inflation numbers were absolutely lousy, but they came out on Monday, and nobody talked about it. Not a peep in the news. I guess everybody was preoccupied with the budget, but the numbers on inflation keep creeping up.
Yeah, the numbers keep creeping up, and in the U.S., it's looking good. It's looking good. So, I mean, I had this argument with Alex the other day, saying, "I don't know, it's actually looking good," and he said, "Well, what's the data? Because you have just people saying this and that. It's anecdotal, even though I have a lot of people in my DMs and tweeting at me and telling me, yeah, no, I'm in Illinois and it's come down quite a bit. I'm in Florida, it's come down quite a bit. I'm in Texas, all over the place, and saying all of this stuff. Well, here's some data. Here's actually some of the data. This is out. This is via Fox News. If you want to believe them or not, the data says what the data says. Here's their report on this.
Look at overall inflation for the first year of Trump versus Biden. Biden, overall inflation was up 4.3%, higher than Trump, just up 1.6%. Groceries under Biden in that time, up 3.8%. With Trump, up 1.3%. And then when it comes to gas, this is crazy. Biden up 24.4%. With Trump, it is actually down 5.4%. That is where the biggest difference is. And we heard from the HUD Secretary, Scott Turner, this afternoon. They are racing to cut red tape for construction projects because the belief among officials here is that if housing is the number one place where people are getting killed when it comes to affordability, if people are cutting red tape and able to build more houses and apartments, then the prices will come down. Pretty basic supply and demand in play.
Hey, wouldn't that be fantastic? Hey, cut some red tape, get housing built, get rid of some of that overhead for even making the stuff, and we'd have more of it. Well, it looks like the United States is eating our lunch. That's what's happening.
Yep. And
they're totally eating our lunch. And I've been telling people, because that story came out about the Ford CEO. I've been telling people, if it's at all possible, get your ass down there. Make a better life for yourself. Because what are we getting here? What are we getting in Canada?
God, you're getting a dollar that's worth 50% less than it was 10 years ago. So your salary is not keeping up with inflation. Even people that are happy, because there's a handful of people that are happy because they look at their value of their homes appreciating. No, unless you sell your house, it's appreciating, which just makes the taxes you pay to the municipality that much more. And your house is appreciating, but you can't sell it, and it's only appreciating because the dollar's devalued. And oh no, what are we getting? I mean, I keep reporting on that. Actually, I want to mention this. You're talking about how good the U.S. are doing right now, and yeah, and we have Carney who keeps saying this and that. I don't care what he says, right? You know me, I'm a numbers guy. I went and looked at numbers again this week. I look at all the numbers, but another number I've looked at this week is foreign investments by Canadians and how much money is leaving Canada, right? Like $28 billion of stock market investment left Canada and went to the US. And it's Canadians that are buying US stocks. So maybe Doug Ford is on the podium going, "Hey, buy Canadian," and you got mom and pop, you got the average Joe Canadian who's buying whatever French's ketchup instead of Heinz. Okay, he feels good, but the real money, the real people, they're not buying Canadian. They're not buying in this bullshit. They're moving their money into the US. They're selling.
Yeah, they're getting out of dollars.
Yeah, what are you going to invest in Canada? The Toronto Dominion Bank, Scotia Bank. Name me a big Canadian company worth investing in that hasn't
Brookfield.
Brookfield. Oh, there you. Yeah. Brookfield comes up, and then there's a
no, it's an American company. I was just joking. It's
well,
not
no,
even
it's
a
actually
Canadian company
it's a Canadian
anymore.
company, but it's still listed on the Toronto Exchange, but it has an office in you're laughing, but you're spot on. But and then you know what's another successful company is companies like Shopify, right? And how long before Canadians scared that how long before they get scared into moving into the US? Like there's nothing worth investing in Canada. Sorry folks, if you work for a Canadian company, actually there's a few things worth investing in.
The only reason why they're still in Canada is because of the zero overhead, or like very little overhead for Shopify, and the corporate tax rate's low.
Yeah.
Like the corporate tax rate's low. And I remember this during the first Trump presidency when Americans were complaining like Donald Trump's going to lower the corporate tax rate. That's crazy. And I'd hear Canadians say this, like, can you believe Donald Trump would lower the corporate tax rate? Like, why do you think companies ever come to Canada in the first place?
Yeah.
Because the lower corporate tax rate in Canada. It's the only reason why companies stay here. If it wasn't for that, they'd already be gone. So companies like Shopify, count them gone if they increase the corporate tax rate, and count them gone if Donald Trump lowers the corporate tax rate, because that would be another big economic boom for the United States if they were to just do that. Lower it to what the Canadian tax rate is. Just go there.
Yeah, and especially a company like Spotify. Like, I mean, let me backtrack a little bit. There are Shopify. There are valuable Canadian companies. Most of the real, and some of them exist because they have no choice. If you're going to be an oil and gas producer, then you're going to be a Canadian oil and gas producer, because you can't have, you can't really, if you're Canadian Natural Resources, you can't really have your headquarters in Ireland or some banana republic or whatever. So you have to be here, because this is really where the assets are. But if you're building, if your business is servers, like Shopify,
or asset management, like why would you need
you can be anywhere, right? So let me backtrack. There's some good, actually, in fact, the oil companies this week had a pretty good run, because fundamentals at the end of the day, you want to invest in something that's worthwhile, bricks and mortar. I mean, it's fun to invest in the other things, but what would you invest in Canada? Banks. By the way, Bank of Canada published its third quarter report also on Friday. Every time they publish something on Friday, it's bad news, right? So Bank of Canada published its third quarter report on Friday, and it's only on track to lose $97 million this year. So it's almost gonna break even. Like the Bank of Canada, I mean, compared to its $5 or $6 billion loss last year, I guess breaking even's good. But why is it breaking even? Because Tiff Macklin's lowering the interest rate, and who benefits from really lower interest rates? It's not you and me. Trust me.
It's the first people that get that money.
Yeah,
and they get it at the value that it is. They spend it right away, and the trickle down of lowering value of currency. That's the source of inflation. That's the crazy part. All the other stuff is just measuring the effects of it.
Yeah, and I tried to explain that on a couple of tweets this week, but it's over most people's head, right? I mean, we'll repeat it here, but folks, if you want, yes, the Bank of Canada is literally printing money on behalf of the government, and then using the government as sort of a fake bullshit collateral to back the currency, and issuing bonds that are worthless, and making hoping that there's a split between the interest rate when they issue the bond and the interest rate when they call it back. And luckily right now it's playing in Tiff's favor. He was certainly happy to lower the interest rates as a political move to help out Carney and for themselves at the bank. Have you seen a number on the M2 supply of money?
No, I bet it's ridiculous.
It's like, don't quote me on the number, but folks, M2 is just the monetary number, we call it, and it, like, the bank publishes several numbers, and the M2 is the amount of currency that's out in the markets. And the amount of currency out in the market, Canadian currency, doubled in the last 10 years. So again, if I go around to your neighborhood and I give everybody $20, what have I done? Nothing. Because in fact, if I give everybody $20 and I give one person $40, then I've helped only that one individual, but everybody else who just got $20 didn't get anything from me. So that's what the bank's
It
doing.
just reminds me of the word velocity that the economists always use, the ones that follow John Maynard Keynes' theory of economics, and velocity. So what they say is that, you know, the money supply needs to expand, and that's the velocity of money. And then what happens is then that contracts as the economy grows, and it's only gone in one direction. The velocity is terminal. That's what's happening, and it's absurd what's going on. And guess what? It's not just investors that are seeing this and going, "I need to get the hell out of here with my money." We've got workers, skilled workers, that are now starting to eyeball the United States, saying, "I need to get the hell out of here." It's not just doctors and lawyers anymore. It's skilled people that are saying, "Forget this, I'm out of here," because they're seeing reports like the Ford CEO that came out publicly just the other week, and he said he laments that he can't fill 5,000 mechanics jobs, all paying over $120,000 a year. We're in trouble in our country now.
In the U.S.
In the
This is
U.S.,
Ford in the U. Oh, okay, cool.
Ford Motor Company. So the CEO, he came out and he was on a podcast. He said, you know, Ford's been unable to fill the jobs paying 120 grand a year. We're in trouble in our country. We're not talking about this enough. Ford CEO Jim Farley said in an episode of Office Hours Business Edition podcast published earlier this week, we have over 1 million openings in critical jobs, emergency vehicles, trucking, factory workers, plumbing, electricians, tradesmen. It's across the board, skilled labor. Now, I put this out just yesterday saying the U.S. has 1 million openings in critical jobs, emergency service, trucking, factory workers, plumbers, electricians, and tradesmen. Ford is paying mechanics $120K a year. USD, by the way. In USD, that's what, like $168,000 a year? Imagine getting that kind of dough, right? But this is what they're paying out with 5,000 openings. What would happen to Canada if the USA opened up immigration to Canadian licensed tradesmen? I think
it's a matter of time before he does it. Actually, I think Trump might actually start. He might be thinking about doing that, right? Like, he should. Yeah, it would be devastating. It would be devastating to our economy. I mean, I'd be like, wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm retired now, but if I was like, if I was not retired, I would have moved to the U.S. for sure, you know, years ago. But and you like you said it right, 120,000 or what did he say? 120,000 U.S. plus.
Yes, plus lower taxes.
Lower tax. Imagine you move to Texas, no taxes, no income tax, $120,000. And you can go live in some area of Texas where you're going to buy yourself an absolute amazing ranch, and you can shoot guns on your property.
Yes,
what's there not to like?
so it's funny because this all comes out, and this article just popped out only a few days ago, which I was even unaware of. Trump wants skilled foreign workers to train Americans and then return home. This is a scheme that he's brought about where he wants to bring over American foreigners that have skills to come over to the United States and train people and then go back home. Now, I'll tell you what, like a Canadian that packs up all of his stuff and goes over there and lives for 7 years to train people, they're not going to do that if they don't have some sort of guarantee that that's where they're going to get to live in the future, right?
Yeah.
So I just don't see this scheme working out. I know it's this whole idea, like get rid of the H-1B visa program, but unless there's a way for Canadians, for example, to go over, and I know there's a lot of criticism because you mentioned something about like Chinese coming over and filling these jobs, and people are like, what are you talking about? We don't need a bunch of Chinese people that are going to come over, steal intellectual property, and then bugger off, get into positions where they can do that, because that's what's known to happen in that market. But if Canadians are going to pack up their stuff, they don't want to be there for 7 years and then go back to a crappy, dilapidated country that, let's just be honest, if they all ship to the United States, Canada's going under.
Sure,
if the backbone leaves, it's done.
I'm gonna go glass half full on this one. If you move to the U.S. for 7 years, you can probably retire. Like then then go back to
you go
wherever the
back
hell you
to-
want.
Oh, you go
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to third world Canada.
No,
where...
no. Then I mean, if I went down to the U.S. for 7 years, and then he said, okay, that time's up. I'm like, oh, I know. You know, as you pick up your big bag of money, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go to whatever, Costa Rica or El Salvador, or maybe Japan, and buy one of those nice little homes you keep talking about in Japan that are vacant all over the countryside, and
Yeah, they
live
happen to
happily
be
ever
all
after.
over the place.
Yeah.
And you know what? Japan's
Oh.
even talking about opening up gun laws because so many of these places in rural Japan are vacant. There's been problems with bears, and people have been attacked by bears because bears are getting so used to just busting into houses and nobody being in them.
Okay.
But sometimes,
Now you just blew my head again. I didn't think there'd be bears in Japan.
yeah, there's bears in Japan, and they're aggressive too. So
Where'd they come from? Did they import them and then they escaped from the zoo? Like, are bears
Oh,
native to
Mark.
Japan?
Yeah, there's native bears in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah,
know
and
that.
they can be quite aggressive and vicious, and yeah, so they've been in the talks of like alleviating some of the gun laws so that people could be packing in their homes in rural Japan in case a bear comes in and tries to maul them. It's a thing.
Okay, cool. Didn't know that. I need to go to Japan, Clyde. Like, the more you talk about, I need to go to Japan. Like, I mean, I'd love you to host me and take me through there. But is it
Oh,
is
of
it a
course.
pretty easy country to visit though? Let's say it was just me and Karen. It's not too intimidating. I mean, you get by with your English and everything's okay. Like,
Yeah, so like Japan is unbelievably, like if you go to other Asian nations in the area, in Japan is like, wow, they don't speak English. Holy cow. Like maybe in Tokyo might get by with a few things, but for the most part, like compared to like the Philippines or Guam or, Vietnam or any of these
Thailand.
places,
Yeah.
you're not getting by with just English alone. So with the
Okay.
advent of a lot of technology with AI and be able to translate and stuff, it
Yeah.
works really well.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Tokyo, if you're trying to take the trains and stuff, it can be pretty confusing.
Yeah. So you're
It can be.
describing. Okay, no, it's kind of what I thought. Yeah, you're describing it the way it's suspected. I mean, to me, I consider myself an experienced traveler. I traveled quite a bit.
Well,
for
then it's not
work.
undoable. It's not
No,
undoable.
it's not undoable,
Just do
but-
your research before you
But
go.
what I was
yeah.
going to say is the most foreign country for me, the one where I felt most immersed in the foreign world, was China. I mean, I got to travel to China for work, and every time I was in China, like in backcountry, small backcountry China, 10 million people cities like Chengdu, I was like, what am I, like, it was so foreign, man. It was so foreign. Like, nobody spoke English. Nobody. But yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a cool experience to be in that kind of situation. And I put myself there. I honestly, when I moved there to learn the language, I put myself in a situation where there was nobody who spoke English, and it's how you learn. It's absolutely how you learn. But yeah, getting back to the story, Canadians are definitely looking for a way out. This is I get messages every single day. How am I able to do this? Now, as it currently stands, there's no way to just, go to immigration and say, I'm a tradesman, can I get a visa? Like, that's just not a thing. So H-1B visas are basically, they don't exist anymore. It costs $100,000 to the business per year to have you there. It's just not economical to even have you. So that's become a thing. So, a lot of people are looking at like the L1 visas and that's like with a business. So if you're a tradesperson and you have like a 3-letter construction company, definitely you could set yourself up down in the US and bring yourself over on an L1 visa because you're moving your company. Now, as just an employee, that might be a different story, but I'm heading down to Texas and I'm going to go shake some hands. I'm going to talk to some people and possibly make some connections to try to open up the door to a lot of Canadian tradesmen. Because I'm looking at it this way, like, where's your loyalties to? A lot of people like, you need to be loyal to Canada. Well, Canada's not been loyal to me. I want to be loyal to my fellow tradesmen. It's kind of like you wear an iron ring. You're an engineer. You probably have an affinity to people in your field. I do as well. So my fellow tradesmen, I want to do something that I can do for them, for all of them. So
Yep.
I'm going to put out 100% effort into trying to make this possible for more people across the board, skilled workers. And this is something America needs and America wants. So I'm going to be working with the boys over at The Bridge. For people who've been paying attention to the channel, go check them out. Now, right now, don't go bothering them saying, I'm a tradesman, get me a visa. But if you have your own business or anything like that, and you'd like to relocate to the United States, these guys are definitely the place to go. They've been helping out me and some other people with not just the visa process, but the moving over your finances and all of that other stuff, getting over there. It's a simple URL. It's move2theusa.com. Go check them out. The link will be in the description. I'll make sure everyone has that. But this is what's happening in Canada. People are really starting to move with their feet. Better Dwelling, I remember we were talking about this only last quarter. They published that in the 12-month period ending Q2 in 2025, 120,000 people left the country.
Yep.
And that's just what they could record, because there's no like, filing that you're leaving. That's just what they know of professionals that are not coming back. That's unbelievable. And the numbers are growing. It's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that's noticeable is the number of actually the population's flattened, right? Like those numbers are estimating. I mean, in between census years, official census, those numbers are estimating. But right now, the government is already is calling it. It's already publishing data showing that people are leaving, which is. Some of it is professionals, some of it is Canadians, some of it is people who are just, whose visas expired or whatever and are leaving. But yeah.
We're talking about permanent residents, though. So that what's included in those are only citizens and permanent residents, so not visa holders. Yeah. So that's huge. Now, what's also moving to, we've got a lot of people leaving Canada. But what's coming to Canada, there's a whole industry that's coming to Canada, and it's growing. It's absolutely growing by leaps and bounds. And that's the narco state cartels. That's exactly what's building in Canada. I thought you were
going to go somewhere else with this one, because we do have another growing industry in this country, like a real growing tourism bullshit industry.
Well, we'll get into that, but right now there's a manhunt for the head of the Canadian realm of this whole thing. We used to think of snowboarders in the Olympics as people who got busted for having a little bit of drugs in their system. Turns out the following Olympics, they had another Olympian that turned out to be one of the world's biggest. He's being compared with El Chapo now. Like, I'm not even kidding. Let's get into this. This is today at the is this the White House? FBI Director Kash Patel just went on full beast mode on Canadian Olympian turned drug kingpin Ryan Wedding. He's a modern day Pablo Escobar, El Chapo. Let's have a listen to this.
Do not get to be a drug kingpin and evade the law. Make no mistake about it. Ryan Wedding is a modern day iteration of Pablo Escobar. He's a modern day iteration of El Chapo Guzman. This Justice Department and this FBI will work with our Canadian counterparts and the government officials across the world to bring him to justice. He is responsible for engineering a narco trafficking and narco terrorism program that we have not seen in a long time. He will not evade justice. We are here today because this Department of Justice, behind Attorney General's brilliant leadership and the Deputy Attorney General, have made it clear to the American people with the indictments they have brought that law enforcement and agencies like this FBI will lead the effort to go out there and make sure these animals are brought to justice. And that's exactly what we will do. This step, this interagency step, is a huge, huge step towards obtaining justice for so many American lives lost and so many American lives saved, thanks to the courageous efforts of law enforcement. This is what a great team looks like, working together for the American people under the motto that President Trump set forth to make America safe again. It's incredibly humbling for this FBI to be a part of it and to lead out the efforts on Ryan Wedding. And for those of you out there that have any information on Ryan Wedding, now is the time to speak up. Now is the time to help us. This FBI has always engaged the public around the world for their assistance in bringing some of the world's most dangerous criminals and terrorists to justice. And we are doing so again today.
It's incredible. Like
Did he-
it's gone full thing. So they were
Did he
involved
just
in
shoot
it.
up to the top 10 list of most wanted? Like, where's he going to be? Like, he's way up there now? Like, this is pretty serious. I mean, Christ, imagine you turn on
He's right
the
at the
news.
top. This is
Is he at the
FBI
top?
most wanted. Yeah, FBI most wanted. U.S. Department
Holy
of State.
smokes. Imagine you turn on the
offers-
news and you find out there's a $15 million reward for you. Holy.
That's right. And they want to arrest and conviction. Yeah, so there's a big reward. 10 most wanted fugitives. 10 most wanted fugitives. Ryan James Wedding, wanted for allegedly running and participating in transnational drug trafficking operation. And apparently he was involved in this. There's a big sting going after what they're calling. It was called Operation Giant Slalom. I mean, like, come on. So apparently he was involved in this in a hit, like a mafia type hit thing. There's a bunch of people that have been crossed off on this list, and yeah, he's on the very top. He's right at the top. Canadian.
Was
Canadian
he any good?
dude.
I've never even heard of him before this. Like, was he a good skier or what was he? Or who knows? Who cares? I mean,
Don't care. It's slalom snowboarding. Most snowboarders don't consider that snowboarding.
Yeah. Like,
It's like if you suck at skiing, like you get on the board thing that looks like a
Yeah.
ski. Yeah, it's definitely one of those.
Wow.
Hint. I was a snowboarder for a long time, but it's it's absolutely crazy that this kind of news is coming out. But is it surprising, really, at the end of the day? Because Canada's become so entrenched with the narco state, with Mexico, which is a narco state, and even the young Mexicans have been. I don't know if you saw the news last week that there was a big riot in front of their Capitol building because the young people want Sheinbaum to step down because she's just following the orders of the cartel, and it's obvious now. And they're saying this is a narco state, get rid of it. And Trump's even saying like, I'm not against going in there and going after the cartel myself.
No, I'm not. To be honest, I'm a little shocked. I mean, I knew that. I know that drugs has been a problem in this country, and we are pretty sophisticated at manufacturing things and hiding it from the cops, whatever. Like
Buying the cops,
or whatever. But I didn't think anybody was that big. You know what I mean? Like I thought maybe there's a couple of guys out here making tens of millions, but because the Mexicans and the Colombians, they were billion. There were guys who measured their profits in the weight of the truck, right? They didn't even count the money. They're like, it's whatever, it's an 18-wheeler. What's that? $20 million. They weighed their money instead of counting it. So, okay, we're in the big leagues. We got a couple of guys in the big leagues. Where's he hiding, you think? He's not in Canada. There's no way he's in Canada.
I don't know, Marty. I have no
who knows?
idea.
Wow.
But it's only a matter of time. $15 million on your head, they're gonna turn you in.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna turn you in, and I'm sure he'll probably come in without a head on or something like that. It's gonna be one of those because the cartels are not gonna want him to he's a preppy snowboard kid, right? You think he's not gonna turn on the cartels? They're probably like, yeah, let's get rid of this guy.
You know who knows where he's hiding? Ravisades. I guarantee you, Ravisades knows
everything.
Where he's
That
hiding.
guy.
Ravisades knows everything.
But this is the
baiting him
thing.
now in
So
the chat.
Canada has actually become a narco state, and I've been saying this for a while. Reporters like Sam Cooper have been saying this for a while. It's absolutely here. There's contention whether the fentanyl is flowing south through the Canadian border into the United States because the price is lower, and there not really much has been apprehended in that direction. But it is supplying all of Europe and Australasia, and it's all going down. It's killing people in all these places around the world, and it's happening right in the United States backyard. The U.S. is like, no, we're not putting up with this anymore. It's just not happening. No, not in our backyard.
Well, it's such a lucrative business that it's all making its way out of the country. In fact, I'm hearing that it's hard to obtain on the streets now in Alberta because there is no supply anymore. It's all going south and elsewhere. Plus, they killed all their clients here in Canada. I mean, they're like literally like they killed so many drug users in Alberta that the death rate among drug users has gone down now because they killed everyone.
Wow.
That's how brutal this industry is.
Well, they still exist because I'll be going
yeah.
down on Saturday I'll be hanging out with Drew Coover on Hastings. I'm going to Zombie Town on Saturday to go interview people. It's gonna be something else. Yeah, oof indeed. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, it's a dangerous world, Marty. It's a dangerous world. People call you up and they give you threats and they tell you you can't do this and you can't do that. You've been subject to this recently. You've been getting threats and the algorithms turned on you, and tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I think I reacted by kind of instinct, but last week I talked about guns and how and I've been talking about it online. Like I've literally gone through all my firearms right now and cleaned them all, and I've been going to the gun range about every 3 days and refamiliarizing myself with everything, and I've been buying more ammo and just. And I think it's just a natural sort of reaction to heightened awareness. I've been threatened online. First of all, I've been shadow banned online. It's brutal, but I'm fighting that. I have probably 6 or 7 accounts that are impersonating me. I'm used to a couple, but now I'm at 6 or 7. Which when there's so many that way, then they become hard. Then that's what shadow banning is. There's so many accounts that now. They start with Marty up something, and then they change the last few names, the last few letters, and then it fools the algorithm. So traffic's not coming my way. I'm okay with that, but I've actually received 3 threats in the last week that were legitimate that I did not find funny. Like when somebody sends you a picture with your head on actually that one was online. It wasn't just sent to me privately, but you remember the you've seen that historic picture of the sailor in the Pacific that was executed by the Japanese. He was blindfolded and he was executed. It's a famous World War II picture. Mm-hmm. Well, somebody put it online with my picture on it and my face on it. I'm like, that's not cool. And then somebody else didn't like a tweet that I made, and they said I should be Kurt. And I'm like, that's like Charlie Kirk, right? I should be Kurt.
Yeah.
And then when somebody says that and other people underneath respond, yeah, blah blah blah. It's like, wow, you guys are like, and for what? That one was for mocking Mark Carney's wife. Like, I'm mocking Mark Carney's wife, and some people come over the top on me and say I should be assassinated for that. So, anyways, it's I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but it's and then there was the fish story. Did I tell you that one? I mean, that was like there was a fish on my property. Somebody dumped a salmon on my property with the head cut off, and I thought nothing of it at first. Like I thought, it's just a fish, right? Maybe the dogs found it in a garbage can or whatever. I was like trying to normalize it in my head. Like, why would there be a fish on my property, especially a salmon? I live in the prairies. And then when I shared that story online, everybody's like, Marty, that's an old Sicilian mafia thing, right? Like, it's a warning when they would dump a fish on somebody's doorstep saying, soon you'll be swimming with the fishes, meaning you'll be, you'll have concrete shoes and you'll be in the Hudson River or whatever. So it's an old Sicilian thing. And then my wife comes in and she's like, yeah, there's shit on the fence. I'm like, okay. So and somebody published a picture of my house. So it's intimidation tactics, right? And and I'm not like Elizabeth May, man. I don't have access to the levers of power. Like I'm not the deciding vote in the budget. I'm just a Joe shit disturber online. But the powers that be don't like us. They don't. They're trying to. In my case, I think they're just trying to intimidate me. No, it's not the powers that be. It's the group on the left is getting together. But some people are truly trying to intimidate me.
Yeah, well, I find it's not just on the left. I think like people on the right like to attack people on the right.
Sure.
I don't know why. I think it's crazy. People, you're not allowed to criticize. No, I've been like I think you and I both are persona non grata. Me in particular, why? Because I question the political strategy of the guy who lost the last election. It turns out I was right, but like, oh, you can't have that discussion. You're not allowed to talk about that. You're just supposed to say, yeah, good job. Well, better luck next time.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I'm not into that. I don't have an ounce of that in my blood, so I can't be that for people. I won't ever be that for people. I'm gonna call things out when I see it. It's just I
Yeah,
I can't be any other way.
Yeah, I'm not going to change either. But I'm just meant, yeah. Thanks for asking and giving me a chance to just talk about it. But it's a real thing. And when it happens to me, it actually does make me think a little bit. I mean, we are hard on politicians, but um, but then when I look at who I'm hard on politicians that I think are actually corrupt. I'm not hard on everyday politicians that are doing a good job. You know, I'm hard on politicians. Let me correct. Like some politicians, sure, I'm hard on Danielle Smith because I'm trying to hold her accountable, but I'm not being a lunatic about it.
Yeah.
I'm hard on. Here's an example. David Lametti. Did you see what happened to David this week? David Lametti is like, he's the guy who stepped in after the
Jody Wilson-Raybould, yeah, was
Joseph-
kicked out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Big corruption
Lametti's
scandal
famous
there.
for hanging out with, and his Ferraris and everything else. Well, guess what? He got a point. I mocked him. We mocked him. It's for nothing because now he was rewarded. Today or yesterday was announced that he's Canada's new ambassador to the United Nations. Like, so mock away, right? And there's a big difference between me mocking somebody. Anyways, I was saying it being threatened makes me appreciate some politicians because I do think some politicians go through a lot of shit. But
Sure.
and nobody who's genuinely doing a good job deserves that kind of shit. Nobody ever deserves to be threatened. Let me clear on that. Nobody
Yeah.
ever deserves to be threatened. But does Elizabeth May deserve to be mocked?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Does David Lametti deserve to be mocked for what he did? Absolutely. Stephen Guilbeault, I'll mock him in person, right? So yeah. Actually, speaking of mocking, can we got a couple of minutes, right? We didn't talk about
Yeah.
this. You're just reminding me of something. The other big news that happened late last week was Carney unveiled his 6 projects, right? Did you see that announcement? Like this was the big week, right? Carney announced the 6 nation building projects, right? Like that they're gonna promote. So 3 or 4 of them were mines in Ontario and New Brunswick, and one was in your neck of the wood, that LNG facility north of Kitimat, and did you see the video that came out on that one? That simultaneously mocked that project, but also simultaneously exposed that project for how absolutely terrible that is.
I did,
how-
and I did a video about it.
Oh, did you? Okay, good.
Yeah. And it was hilarious because the elbows up guy just put together a project that all the funds are going to go right down south because they're American businesses that are opening up the LNG pipeline instead of Canadians investing in that, instead of anything. And I'm not for the government doing it. I don't want the government to do it. I want private business to do it. But I mean, it's just ironic. It's ironic entirely that it's an American company, and they're just gonna go ahead. And
Yeah.
how did they okay this? Because like the big issue is getting around the natives, because the natives are, I don't know, they do a song and dance and then they make it no. It's just no's, right? That's all that happens.
I did a pretty good rant on that one. I mean, nothing's approved. Carney's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Carney still believes in net zero. Carney realizes that he needs to appear to be doing something. He needs to promote some projects. He needs to appear visionary. Suddenly, hey, Canada, we're going to build nation building stuff. So he knows that he's got to do a few things. But when he looks around, he's like, well, what can I do? So he picked a few quote unquote minor projects or some bigger ones that had native participation that he thought would still fly with the public, would fly with the natives, and wouldn't completely alienate his own party. Well, I mean, and the proof was this week, like, you know, those guys mocked him, which shows where he's stuck. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, you're in between a rock and, because that video wasn't made by our side.
It was an Australian environmental
Sure. But I mean, I approved the
organization.
message of the video. I was laughing at the video and I loved the video, even though, and I agree with it. I mean, that's one of the worst projects he could have picked, but it just shows that Carney's stuck between a rock and a hard place. and his real heart, where's his heart? What kind of projects does Carney want to do?
Well, he wants Brookfield to make a lot of money and offer the taxpayer
He wants
dollar.
Brookfield to make lots of money, and he's on the record at the World Economic Forum and other places saying green, 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 net zero, net zero, net zero. So Carney's not changing his stripes, folk. And now, so back to these projects. At the end of the day, these projects will never happen because all he's done is he's kind of putting his support behind him. Now they go to the major projects office, and then they got to try and push it forward, and they'll never push it forward. It's can't build anything in this country. It's just the way it is right now.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. And
pretty
he's
much.
over in Europe procuring more contracts for Brookfield. Actually, that's what he's doing. I got this video here from today. I just let it play.
Canada and Sweden are demonstrating what practical solidarity looks like. A powerful example of this, if I may, is actually Westinghouse nuclear fuel facility in Sweden, in the city of Västerås, now owned jointly by the Canadian companies Brookfield and Cameco. Today, this plant supplies fuel to every form. Canada and Sweden are
Yeah, more stuff owned by Brookfield. Canada's investing in it abroad. It's amazing. And what else is Canada doing? Well, they're alienating our neighbors again. Canada interested in Swedish firm Saab Gripen fighter jets, Jolie says, and it looks like we're going to be buying more fighter jets, right? So this has always been a thing. Buy fighter jets. It's become a political hot button issue. But if they turn around and buy these fighter jets, well, they won't be able to buy the fighter jets, the F-35s that they promised to the United States and have a contract to purchase. So what would happen there? Well, if they have to renege on a contract, well, what are the penalties? I guess the U.S. will be pissed at us for another thing. And
actually, Clyde, it would be the second time we reneged on this contract because Trudeau actually reneged on it once already, and it cost us 220. I'm gonna say 220 million, maybe more. Like, it's big numbers when you renege on the contract, right? Or maybe he didn't renege, but he dragged his feet and some clause came through, so we paid a big penalty. And we'll pay the penalty again, piss off Donald Trump, and we won't buy. By the way, those jets are not completely unsuitable for Canadian for what we need. Like our what we need hasn't changed for the last 20 years. We need jets that have long range, that can go over the ocean because we got to go over the water and do this and do that. We need two engines. We need a couple of things. Those jets don't work. Those are fighter jets, and that's not what we need, man. We're not in the business of fighting other jets. We need interceptors and planes that can go long range and patrol. Anyways, it's just like
we don't need submarines. We need icebreakers and all this stuff. We're blowing money on contracts because the contracts are high number contracts, and they can just say, "Hey, look, we're spending money." There we go.
Looks good. And the king and the queen of Sweden happen to be here this week, so it's convenient. Like, we've never talked about these jets ever before. For the last 5 years, they were never even on the radar. And now all of a sudden we're talking about Gripens. Yeah, oh God. It's
we'll get into it in the after chat.
Yeah,
why don't we save it for that?
The only saving grace to the budget passing and other things is that and this kind of news is the government will never do it, right? They'll announce it, everybody applauds. They'll never buy submarines, they'll never buy planes, they'll never build anything. We're so screwed in this country right now that Yeah. Are we going to the chat, or we got a couple of seconds
Yeah.
left?
No,
Yeah.
let's go right to the chat. Marty, where can people find you?
Hey, do me a favor. Definitely come find me on Marty Up North, and just same to here. Like, come to Marty Up North on X and like some of my comments or anything. Just like them to try and I got to break this shadow ban. This one's really, really bad. Yeah,
This
that's
one's
where you-
bad. Okay.
this one's
Get on
bad.
over there. Link is
Yeah.
in the description down below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, obviously you know where to go. Go Marty Up North. And for those that are watching this after the fact, this is where we continue on. We continue on and we go into the Q&A portion of this. So for everybody else that's watching this after the fact, we'll see you in the next one. But for everybody who's here live, let's get into this.